Hi guys, this is King Jilan Dolaki from Kuruwa Ministry. Anyways, I just tell you that Kuruwa Ministry is a ministry which has assignment to intercede for nation, and also which have assignment to empower people who are on the street. And the way we do our ministry, we use 7 mountains of the world, and one of it is the economy. And always I don't let you down. That is the reason why I choose to come up with this great man who is sitting around me. And I'm gonna give him opportunity to share with us his wisdom, his skills as he intervene or as he work outside, especially as an entrepreneur, as a businessman. Without take much time, I just want to let him speak and just that he can be able to tell us who he is briefly and what he do. And I believe this is something gonna shape someone, gonna encourage someone. Let me tell you, watch this video until the end. I tell you, you will learn something very important. Welcome, bro.
Thank you, bro.
Uh-huh.
Hi, guys. My name is Bob. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm in the manufacturing space. I manufacture pet products, specifically cat litter. And the product that we launched late last year, that's in November of 2024, was Perflex cat litter. We're also working on a few more products in the pipeline. We have pet food coming up, dog food, cat food, and hopefully also pharmaceuticals.
Wow. You're welcome, bro.
Thank you, bro.
You know, always when I'm with you, I think you are one of the very handsome young men in this city of Nairobi. I wonder how do you manage it when you are doing business with this beautiful girl in this city of Nairobi? How tell us life honestly? Is there anyone who approached you and say, "I want your number"? I heard in Nairobi it is possible that someone can approach you and ask you the number. Has that happened?
It has happened.
Uh-huh.
So because I'm a pet owner and I'm in the pet industry,
Yes.
it's easy for some people to use that as a segue.
And meet you.
Exactly.
And say, tell us, how does the guys approach you?
Okay, so I post a lot of content around my business on my personal social media pages, especially Instagram.
Okay.
And also post my pet, my cat. So every time I post it on my story,
yes,
because those few people when they wanna comment,
you are very handsome.
No, they comment about the pets.
Wow.
Maybe they comment about my products. So they are potential pet owners, but may look at them as customers. Yeah. Then unapata you're now doing the customer service. I'm now doing the customer service, waiting to make a sale.
Wow.
And then unapata a plot twist that I don't really have a cat yet. But I want one. Do you know where I can get one?
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then you catch up from there.
Yeah.
Wow. Everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought maybe it's me who see you as handsome. In this city as a young man. How is it easy to be in a business as a young man, as very handsome, have a potential? You see, when you are doing a business already, you have the money. How is it easy for someone like you, having enough money, you can go in any hotel in this city we stay in, and the same way, I believe you meet different people from different places, and as a young man, I believe that maybe also you, Nairobi have many beautiful girls. Oh my God. You see it the same way Ama is me alone. Tell us.
Okay, that's an interesting question.
Yes.
So as an entrepreneur, young entrepreneur with results, I like to call it results because you can see the product,
Yeah.
you can hold the product, the business is post-revenue. Everyone perceives you as someone who has a lot of money,
Yes.
like a walking bank.
Yeah, even me, even me when I invited you here, I knew something we left on the table.
So there's always that perception
Oh yeah.
in any space that I walk into and I introduce myself as an entrepreneur, or
Yes.
if they already know I'm an entrepreneur,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
But sometimes vitu kwa ground ni tofauti. So it's you just take it as it comes.
Okay.
Right.
Let me ask you, what really has inspired you to start a business? Because as I look at you, you're still young. So what really inspired you to start a business at such a young age as you are?
Okay. I'm pretty young.
Yeah.
But for me, when my peers were in college,
yes,
I was already working.
When you was in college?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
So because my college life wasn't very stable.
Uh-huh.
At that time, my family wasn't stable financially.
Uh-huh.
So I became an employee very early on.
Okay.
When my peers were studying.
Yeah.
And I grew through that journey.
Uh-huh.
I had the opportunity to work in various startups, early stage businesses. From we start the office in the apartment, and then some of them scaled up to 13 countries. Some of them are now household brands. And I think that was the journey that God was leading me into to build my confidence.
Okay.
And to bring me into this direction.
Okay.
So I started, to answer your question, I started entrepreneurship for the money.
For making money?
For making money.
Oh my God. The motive was only making money.
Yes.
I think it was manipulating people then.
Yes, because
if your motive as an entrepreneur, if only what you see, however, I'm not blaming you as young as you was, that you are saying you was doing it because of situation you was found yourself in, where you needed to pay the bill at younger age. How was it able to balance doing business and serve the people at the same time? Because when someone maybe is in desperation and the only what he's thinking about is money, he will think anything can increase price, can sell even bad product, make sure he has the money. Okay, how was you doing it?
All right, that's a good question. So let me take a step back.
Yes.
The reason why money was a motivator, looking for money was a motivator, is because as someone who is employed, without certificates, you can only go so high in the system of employment that I was in. You can only ascend to a certain level.
Yes.
Beyond which your lack of qualifications becomes a blocker.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So I felt that I had reached that place.
Okay.
And there was no other way to grow my income.
Yes.
Except entrepreneurship.
Okay.
Because now then I'm thrust into the world of sales. And sales is like a blank check.
Okay.
Right? So depending on your product, the kind of work you put in, you can earn something from that.
Okay.
That being said,
I get it.
Yeah.
Now, what is the first? I get clearly what you are saying. What was the very first step you took when you started your business?
The very first step I took was research. So I built my company on paper. I talked to the suppliers, I negotiated, I tried to see how things are going to flow from an operations perspective, from a cost perspective, from a procurement perspective, and also from a financing perspective. And by building the business on paper,
Mm.
means that I came up with a proposal
Mhm.
that I can then use to convince people to join
Your
this
business.
journey.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so that's the very first thing I did, research.
The first was,
prayer.
in brief, you are saying the first step you took first was research concerning what you was doing, if someone is listening us. And the second step you are saying is to search people to invest in what you was doing. That is true if I'm not changing what you said.
Correct.
Wow. I think we are learning. That is the reason why I'm trying to push it in that way so that even someone who is watching us can really get what we are saying and can learn from us. I think that is, we are doing this for people. I think you know that. As an entrepreneur, I think you get the idea. The idea is that this video we are doing it for people of Kenya, for people who are across the world. So the third question maybe I can ask is this. What is the biggest challenge have you faced? You have never expect to face as entrepreneur or as you started the entrepreneurship?
All right, so later on, this is after the research, after coming up with the proposal, after convincing investors to join the journey. The biggest problem that we didn't foresee is how big our access to raw material is going to be a risk to the business, right? So there was a point where our raw material was cut off because the people who are able to supply it are a monopoly in East Africa.
Okay.
That one I didn't see coming.
Okay.
And it was a surprise. It came at a stage where we had already heavily invested in a lot of things.
Yes.
The reason why it's the biggest challenge is because now the one raw material that we needed to have a product, we couldn't access it. So it's essentially we had invested a lot, but we can't create a product now.
You can create a product.
Yeah.
How is it causing pain? As a young entrepreneur, I believe you did not have a big money. Yeah, and the maybe smallest or the biggest you have already invested it. Now that hit you. How was your feeling? How was you thinking?
It was honestly a roller coaster, and I remember going through a lot of feelings of doubt. I was asking God whether He had really called me to this business.
No.
So I remember I doubted myself. Doubt was the biggest thing, and then the next thing after doubt was anxiety, because I had taken an investment from angel investors. We had built the company to a certain stage. And now, how was I supposed to go back to the board and tell them that the one raw material you need to have a product, we can't get it?
And you said first, I did research.
Absolutely.
And research does not show you that there is something very important you should have. I think that can be very painful. And now you are saying you was believing in God. Do you mean you are a believer of God, or explain more about this? How businessmen come? I heard the old people who are in this think many times they don't believe and think like spiritual matters. For you, I think it's different. How was your journey now in terms of believing in God, balancing of this, what is working, what is not working? How was it look like?
First of all, let me say that if it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be where I am right now.
Okay.
And the business wouldn't exist.
Okay.
Right? And the reason why I say that is because, first of all, God had to work inside me and change me before He can change or He can build the business. God had to build Bob before He can build the business.
Oh my God!
Because the business, the journey that was about to get onto, required certain qualities that the Bob, who was not built by God, did not have.
He could not handle such a kind of space.
Exactly.
Oh my God! And now you are saying God needed to change you first before He trusts you with what assignment to do what He was doing. And now you are saying you can see the hand of God in such a kind of business. But sometimes when we are saying this, think people, and I'm sorry for saying this, I believe many people they feel like these people they are not educated, or these people they don't have enough muscle in terms of finances. That is always everything they want to increase God in it. But me, I knew you when you stay around here. The best city I think in this city of Nairobi, in Westland. At young age as you are, in a nice location. Now, what really can tell this person who doubt, who feel like for someone to trust God is like you are failing, nothing is working in your side.
I think what I can say
Yes.
is that if God gives you a vision, He will give you the provision.
Okay.
So that's the first thing.
Okay.
Secondly,
Yes.
in your journey of entrepreneurship, there are mountains that
Yes.
you will have to move.
Yes.
You will have to command those mountains to move.
Okay.
Right?
In prayer.
In prayer.
Not with money.
Not with money.
Oh
there
my
are mountains
God.
that they can't move with money.
Okay.
It's only prayer.
So if there is young entrepreneur who is here, feel like he can just come with such a kind of ideology and feel like think it's going to work. If you are not spiritual, especially believing in God, you need to understand the least somehow it will be hard for you. Now, the fourth question maybe I may highlight is this. You know, maybe your parent, your family member, your friend knew you as someone who was a servant. I mean, who was working with other company, who don't have his own business. And now one day, one night, you just wake up and tell them, you know what? Starting tomorrow, I want to start my own business. Or like you told them 3 months or 1 year before you start. Tell them, you know what? I just want to start my own business. What was the reaction they have toward your ideology?
All right, so my family was concerned, but still supportive.
Okay.
They were concerned because I was moving from a very good role in the marketplace. I was moving from a very good job to now trying and figuring things out that I didn't have even enough finances to build a business.
Okay.
So they had reasons to be concerned. I don't blame them.
Okay.
Very valid.
Yes.
My friends are very supportive.
Okay.
A lot of my friends are entrepreneurs.
Wow.
So they were excited.
They was like, we have been waiting this day.
Exactly.
Oh my God. I think that is the great blessing. Now, what can you tell someone? I think you was have this benefit that many of your friends, they were entrepreneurs, right? In the same way, your family could understand what you are doing. But I believe that there is someone who say have this ideology to go to start my own business. You are left in this good position in a bank or in a big company of United States of America or wherever in the world, which is paying you a big salary, which is giving you all facility, and they are like, hey, young man, you need to think twice. Because what you are doing, we are not sure if it will give you the result you are expecting. And sometimes now when it is a matter of the people who has never been an entrepreneur, you can understand which advice they will give you. What can you tell someone like that?
About having friends that are entrepreneurs.
Who are not entrepreneurs. Who are not supporting your idea of going for moving this company, for moving for this position to go to start something new for yourself.
Okay. So first of all, the thing I appreciate about having entrepreneurs as friends is because they've been through the journey.
Okay.
Right? So they will tell you as it is. If they think your idea has issues, they'll tell you, I don't believe in this idea for ABCD. Maybe you can work on these things. Or they can even advise you on some of the failures that they had.
Yes.
Right? So you get some very solid advice from friends who are entrepreneurs, and because they are interested in seeing you thrive, most of them will give you genuinely honest feedback. But also, I have friends who are not entrepreneurs, who are supportive, who
Okay.
have been supportive, right?
Yes.
It's just that the advice differs.
Yes.
The advice I get from friends who are entrepreneurs are it comes from experience, and it helps me shorten my journey in the building phase of the business.
Okay.
But from the other friends, it's more of encouragement. However, also there are some friends who will tell you your idea is nice, and they don't really believe it. They're just trying to be nice,
Okay.
to be kind.
Just
So
keep going.
That's the challenge of having friends friends advise you about your business who are not entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Some of them will just tell you good things to
So,
make you happy,
so that you can feel nice.
so that you can feel nice. But
The time you are feeling challenged, they are not there with you facing your problem.
Exactly.
Okay. When you was saying about how you was looking for investors who are you call them the angel investors to help you to raise money. And here, many youth of Africa and many youth of Kenya, especially, because that is where we are, I believe many of us, we keep saying we can't do this because it's need the capital. I don't have the money. I don't have this and this and this. And you will find out, I think you know that if you go maybe in this city of Nairobi and question many people, what is your prayer request? You'll find out that each person, 95 or 97 of the people you will ask, they will say the challenge is you will come around money. How do you get someone, those angels you call, where do you get those angels investors to invest in your business? How is it easy for someone to convince them concerning the product you are selling?
Let me say this. For me, I think God guided me to my investors.
Okay.
Because when I was seeking and I was praying for provision, what God told me is that the relationships I built in 3 years prior to me starting my business are going to serve me during this period.
God speak literally.
Yes.
What am I doing for my life?
That's the confirmation.
What am I doing for my life? Continue.
But before I got there,
yes,
this is the typical journey of an entrepreneur who is trying to finance their idea. First of all, you start by bootstrapping. So what bootstrapping is you're digging into your pockets to register a company, to do your research, you push the money in your pocket as far as it can take you. But it is limited by your bills, by your expenses, by your income. There's only so much far you can go with your own money. So that is bootstrapping. So where bootstrapping ends, you enter a stage that's called pre-seed. So the pre-seed stage is now where you convince your angel investors, and the reason they're angel investors is because your idea has not yet been validated or your product has not yet been created.
Yes. It is just a vision.
It is an idea. They're investing in an idea.
Yes.
So that is an angel to you.
Someone take 3 million, 10 million, 50 million and say, just put in your vision.
Exactly. But the purpose of that investment is now to create the concept, or to create we call it a proof of concept, to prove the concept of your idea or your business, or to create the prototype. That's the purpose of the seed, pre-seed funding.
Wow.
And then after pre-seed funding, you go to seed funding, right? So you raise the seed stage when you've already obtained a proof of concept. You've validated your idea in the market. Now you want to build the business in a way that it can now be it can be profitable.
Yes.
It can earn revenue. It can be sustainable.
Yes.
So that's the purpose of the seed stage funding.
Yes.
So often the investor you get in the pre-seed will be the investor that pumps in money at the seed stage.
Okay.
And they're looking for one of two things. They're looking for revenue share, meaning a share of the profits at the end of the year, of the financial year, or they're looking for a strategic exit. That means that if your business grows and the value of your business grows, they invested when the value of the business was low. So their shares was, for example, maybe worth 1 million shillings.
Yes.
But when the business 10 times its value, then the value of their shares also increases by 10 times.
What?
So when the value is at 10 times, they now sell those shares. That's called a strategic exit.
Wow. It means someone who given you 1 million, you will times 10, and then this is 10 million, and then they said those 10 million and go out.
Yeah.
Wow. He was saying, oh, this how you have such a like the angel investors. He was telling us how they have been investing in what he was doing. And now he was telling us all those steps, how the people would give you more than what they given out. And now the question I'm going to ask is this. Have you ever reached the point in this journey to feel like doesn't matter which capacity of money and time I have invested in this thing, I want to quit, or I want to leave this business? That is the question I wanted to ask.
Yes. There are many times in this journey, especially when I was facing mountains,
Yes.
that a lot of doubt came in. And I wanted to quit. And my way of doing that was, it's like, I call it cheating on my business.
Cheating on your business.
So I apply for jobs, hoping that they go through, so they can save me from this painful journey.
He was like, nimetoka na stima bila kujua. Let me go back where I was. What have been, or what was your secret keep pushing you to keep going? Even for reaching like that point, you feel like, I just want a new job. If I get a new job, I'm not here for this thing. What really keep on push you until you have to keep doing what you was doing?
You know, a lot of entrepreneurs wakiulizwa maswali wanasemanga ni God maze. So honestly, it was God, because when I was at the end of my rope, God extended his for me to hold on. What that means is that when I was facing a mountain, for instance, and I didn't know what to do next in the context of the raw material issue, for example, God brought in people, destiny helpers at that point, who can unblock that journey for me.
Wow.
They are not people that I have known before, and they are very senior people.
Wow.
In some of the government agencies who could unblock the issue for me.
Okay.
It's miracles like that.
Just someone come and say, you know what?
Yes.
I'm here to help you.
Exactly. That reinforced my confidence and strengthened my faith that God had actually called me to do this.
Oh my God. I like that. Now I understand to be entrepreneur. It's not for everyone. Now, another question maybe I may ask is this. What is the big mistake you have made in this journey as you was a young entrepreneur? What is the big mistake have you ever made? And what that mistake teach you exactly? If there is any one mistake you feel like, this was the worst mistake I made.
I think the biggest mistake I made was following some of the advice of influencers on Instagram, especially on social media. Wanakupatia pressure mingi. Wake up at 4 a.m. Do this. No days off.
Yes.
So the reason why that was the biggest mistake is because I genuinely thought that that was the path to success. But I quickly came to learn that there was more to it, because what those that kind of content advocates for is being on the grind, struggling, doing it by your strength, right? Pushing yourself to your limits,
Yes.
right? But you need to remember that if you build without the Holy Spirit, then you're laboring in vain.
Okay.
You're building in vain. You need to lean on God, not your own strength.
Okay.
So in leaning on my own strength, and this is why it's the biggest mistake, I was faced with a lot of burnout, with a lot of doubt. I was putting myself in situations where I focused only on my finances, and also because my faith is built on a strong foundation on God.
Yes.
But I neglected my physical health. I neglected my mental health. I neglected my social health. So thank God for grace.
Okay.
Because it is grace that took me through. But if you neglect your mental health, your physical health, these things will catch up to you. They will catch up with you. You won't get very far.
You are digging hole for yourself.
Yes, because I remember after we finally launched the product, it took us 16 months before we launched the product.
16 months.
16 months without making a single sale, without revenue.
Well, to go up every morning, you wake up to go there. Every evening, you are there.
Exactly.
16 months.
Exactly.
Which is 1 year and 5 months.
Exactly. Now, that is 16 months of working on the business, leaning on God, which came with a lot of grace that I'm grateful for, but also 16 months of neglecting my physical health, neglecting my mental health. So after we launched the product, we went into the market for 2 months, and I realized that I'm struggling with depression, some sort of depression and burnout. And that really crippled the business. It crippled me and it crippled the business.
How is you is mentally problem?
Because
how did I affect the product you are doing?
Because the business is still very early stage, right? It requires a lot of my attention, a lot of my energy.
Yes.
Right? I was pouring from an empty cup.
Okay.
That energy, that attention, I had already poured from the cup, and the cup was empty now. And
you was giving what you don't have.
Exactly. And even if I go to work,
yes,
I wasn't able to take my best self to work.
You was just there, feel like, let me just do it.
Exactly. I'm taking my most mediocre self to work. Then now there's the migraines, the insomnia, not sleeping well, and all that. It was a mess. Let me just say that you should, if you're building your business,
yes,
God first, and then your idea second, your financial well-being, because that again will determine whether you get to bring your best self to work or not. Also your physical health, and your mental health, because you want a healthy mind in a healthy body of an entrepreneur.
But let me ask you, as you are saying, you are working like 16 months. And I'm present because sometimes we'll have a catch up when you was in this journey. We used to sit and sometimes we catch up, we talk about it. And sometimes it look like you are working 16 months for something which doesn't increase even a single coin. I think that is here itself. How do you manage your mind to believe this thing? You remember it's the first time you are starting this thing. How do you get the courage to believe that this thing is going to give me the result I'm expecting? It doesn't matter what I'm doing right now. It doesn't matter how I feel. It doesn't matter how I'm using, even I'm walking when I'm going to work. Where do you get that courage to keep doing what you are doing in such a kind of moment where what you are doing doesn't show any sign that you will produce the result?
So first of all, if you have an idea, God will give you clarity on that idea. Whether it is inspired by God or not, God will give you a confirmation if the idea is inspired by Him. So for me, after modeling my business and seeing the contribution margin, so a product that cost me, I won't say how much to make, but it has a contribution margin of 306%. This is when we modeled it. That means that the selling price of the product is 3 or 4 times more than
what you have invested,
what it costs you to produce that one product, that one pocket.
Wow.
If you look at the competitor, the pricing on the shelf for the competitors, it is about 3 or 4 times more than what it costs you to make it. Secondly, you know that the customers exist, right? But then again, your idea is always a hypothesis, and unless you have data to back it. So you on paper, the business looks good, but you always have to validate it with the actual product, and you let people vote with their money whether your business is actually good. That is the true determinant. So being obsessed with that result of seeing the other side of this idea that's on paper, what do the results look like, right? A confirmation. The other thing I'll just say is community. You can draw a lot of strength from community. So me and you, we go to the same church, right? We're in the same community. And we do a lot of praying. We have Friday Bible study, we have Tuesday prayers. Those are things that charge you up.
Seed taking it, keep encouraging each other.
Exactly.
You can make it, man.
Exactly.
It is not easy, but in God I believe. I have no idea what you are doing.
Exactly. But also you can find bad communities, right? You tell them your problems and you end up trauma bonding. Instead of shifting your focus on God, you're bonding on the trauma of your business and the challenges you're facing. So you need to be careful about the community that you're plugged into.
Which kind of the people who are surrounding you. Okay. Wow, I'm lying. You were speaking about how the motivation speaker, they challenged you and you think maybe what they were saying. And finally you come to realize it doesn't work in your calendar. Now, it can push me to ask this question. What does a normal day in your life look like as a young entrepreneur?
All right, so I often wake up at 6 a.m. That's because I prefer to wake up at 6 a.m. If I wake up before 6 a.m., it's probably between 4 and 5 a.m. And I do that if I have to. For example, I'm plugged into this community of believers that pray at 4 a.m. So once in a while, I join their 4 a.m. prayer meeting. It's virtual. So I wake up at 4 to do that. Or maybe I'm required to travel to go meet some of my suppliers. So I might wake up a bit earlier so that I get there early and I can come back to Nairobi
at
the right time. But I often wake up at 6 a.m. I do my benediction. That's the first thing. So I do my devotions, I read the word, I pray. That's how I set the tone for the day. I put all my anxieties to God, as well as thanking Him. So it's good to start the day with a tone of gratitude. Because then you're starting the day with positivity. You have a lot to look forward to.
Positivity mindset.
Yes, a positive mindset, and that's very important. Because where you're going to solve problems. entrepreneurship is about solving problems.
Wherever you go, you know, challenge is there.
Yeah, so you need to always start your day on the right mood.
Okay.
I go to the gym. After the gym, I have my breakfast. So I start working at around 9 a.m. I usually work till noon. Then in the afternoon, I now catch up with my entrepreneur friends.
Okay.
So that's what I like doing in my afternoon.
Okay.
Sometimes I work the whole day, depending on how much is needed for me at in that season.
Yes.
But typically, most of the times, I work till noon. Then my afternoon, I catch up now with my other activities.
Yes.
So that yeah.
So which time would you go to bed exactly?
I go to bed by usually 10 p.m.
10 p.m.
Yeah.
That is why when someone call you 10 p.m., your phone it will ring. Sometime you will not receive it.
It depends. If you're calling me for work even at 6 p.m., you won't find me.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
If you had to start over today, what would you do differently? If you had to start over today, what would you do differently?
I would lean more on the Holy Spirit in every decision I make. There are times where I made decisions outside of the Holy Spirit, and I ended up paying for that. So by paying for that, I mean that I ended up taking the long way to my result instead of the short way to my result.
Okay.
So that's the biggest lesson I think
you would do
that I would implement, and also having a balance.
Okay.
Right. So by having a balance, I mean my spiritual life, and my Christian life, my walk with God, my physical well-being, meaning my physical health, exercise, my mental well-being, my social well-being, or being plugged into a community, or having people who I can call on when I'm down, and also my financial well-being. So having a balance and pouring into each of those areas instead of just focusing on
what you are doing,
on what I'm doing.
Where we plug just for ministry, one there for ministry. Here there's people to pray for. You are laying hand upon them. There's people who are doing this and this. You are there. You are coming and praying fast until everything you see it is like a demon. So I get you, bro. Now, as we finish our conversation or our interview, what would be your advice? Would you give the younger people of 16 to 25 years who feel like this is what I want to do, this is how I want to start it? I'm sorry, but when they reach there, they are like, no, it's not now. They feel scared. What can you tell them to assure them? What can be your advice for them?
So, what I can say is if you're in school,
yes,
you should focus on school.
Yes.
Don't take that opportunity for granted. However, there are some people who don't have that opportunity, right? So if you're interested in trying your hand out in entrepreneurship, and you feel like you can balance school with entrepreneurship, or you just have the opportunity to do entrepreneurship, I would advise you to fail fast. And by fail fast, I mean FAST, haraka, chap. The reason for that is because a lot of the lessons that you learn are from your failures, or from the failures of others, right? Secondly, look for a mentor.
Yes.
You don't need to start inventing the wheel again.
Yes.
There are people who've gone before you in that business that you want to get into.
Yes.
So talk to them. They can give you advice. They can help shorten your journey.
They know what to require.
Exactly.
Wow.
Thirdly, don't be afraid of making mistakes. Right? It's part of the journey. You learn from those mistakes. And most importantly, lean on God.
Okay.
Let God build you first and equip you for the person you need to be, so that you can be the person that you need to be for that journey, for that entrepreneurship journey, or that business that you want to start.
Wow. Very powerful. As we conclude, Bob, I think we know each other almost now 8 years tunaenda kama 10. And what is it do you don't like about me? What is it do you like about me? Why do you encourage me to learn from others?
Okay, that's
And be
an
honest.
interesting question. Let me start with the bad things so that I end on a good note.
Yes.
What I don't like about you is that you didn't start this project of yours sooner. Because there's a lot of time you are talking about it.
Yes.
But you didn't implement it.
Yes.
And at the same time, there are people who moved quickly to implement their projects.
Yes.
So that is what I didn't like about you. And
Yes.
I hope I told you.
Yes.
But what I like about you is you take ministry seriously, right?
Yeah.
And even what you're doing right now
Yes.
is you're doing it to advance the kingdom of God.
Yeah.
So what I would advise you is to get more diverse voices.
Yes.
Because I believe you have a big enough network
Yes.
and community that you've built in the last couple of years.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
You've introduced me to some of your friends that I would like to see here.
Yes.
I won't mention the names.
Yes.
But you know who I'm talking about.
Yes, I know that.
I think he should be the next person you bring on board, because he just has so much wisdom and he's a Christian.
Yes.
And I believe there's a lot that your viewers, including myself, can learn from him.
Yes.
And from the other people in your network.
Wow. Asante sana. I love the way you are humble. I think that is one thing I like about you. I like the way you care about the believer, especially those who are around you. You are that guy who come and ask, like, guys, how are you doing? And have you eaten? And you buy something. And here I have a biscuit already was coming with. Always you do something, and I feel like, wow, I'm learning from this guy. Bro, I love you.
Thank you, bro.
And I appreciate for whatever you are doing. And honestly, I have seen you from every step you have took in business. You know, I know you when you was entrepreneur for water. When you was supplying water within the busy city of Westland. So you have tried many things, right? So my prayer is that you will make it. My prayer is that you are going to be one of the biggest entrepreneurs in our generation.
Thank you.
Which can make this city of Nairobi more better. So that we can say that even as this generation, we did not eat and drink only in this city. Look what Bob has been doing for this city. And I respect you, bro.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, you are welcome. I believe it's next time when you invite you will come.
Absolutely. Why not?
Welcome.